All right, folks, joining us right now is to my far right, we have Clayola Brown. She's the president of Randolph Institute, and we have LaTosha. We just call her LaTosha. Okay, she been on enough. Y'all know her enough. Black co-founder of Black Votes Matter. Y'all done heard her enough, so we just go by LaTosha. How y'all doing?
We're doing good. We're fired up. We're doing good.
And so, first of all, you're actually in one place. Every time I chat with you, we're either on social media. You've been living on buses for the past few weeks. So, for the folks out there, tell them about the bus ride, the tours you've been doing all across the country, just really getting the folks about voting and really organizing and mobilizing.
So about 3 weeks ago, we launched what was called the South is Rising Tour, and we've been taking the bus to states all around the Deep South. We started in the Confederacy. We've gone to 5 states.
South.
The Deep South, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee. Actually, I just got off the bus to Tennessee, and we're going back to Mississippi and Alabama again, and we've been going throughout the South in rural communities and urban communities to really help get the word out, and people are responding. We're connecting with grassroots groups and organizations on the ground. We're doing rallies. We're meeting in barbershops and beauty salons and churches. We're having discussions, forums, town hall meetings. We're doing it the way that it works in our community, wherever we're needed to go connect with our people. So the South is rising.
And what kind of reaction have you been receiving?
You know, people have really been, it's actually been really amazing. We've got this, on our bus, we've got this beautiful black bus. I call it the blackest bus in America. And we went down to Randolph County a couple of weeks ago. We were down in Randolph County, which was a county in Georgia where they were anticipating this election board made a recommendation to shut down the polling places,
right.
75% of polling places.
7 out of 9 polling places in that county.
And what wound up happening as we were walking out after the rally, we had a rally, and after we were walking out, there was an older woman, an elder who was walking with me, and she looked up and she saw the bus and she saw Black Voters Matter, and she said, "Baby, does that bus say Black Voters Matter?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, because we do." And she literally started crying. And I knew why she had started crying. And I can name at least 3 other times where people have done that. There have been kids, a little child in Tennessee. We were in Memphis the other day. There was a group of boys about 10 years old that came up and said, "We want to see the bus." And one of the little boys, now I don't know if he quite telling the truth, but he was like, "I've been on this bus before. These are folks, they want you to do right. They want you to grow up and be something." I said, "You know what, baby? You sure are right." And so all of the other boys were like, "Oh, you got on this bus?" And they got on it. People have been excited, and I think part of them excited is not because it's a bus. We've seen buses before, but this is the people's bus. It has a message around that our people, affirmative message, that we have power, that we can vote, that actually us getting together is really more than voting. It's really about us building power. So everywhere we've been going, because we are not going to folks just extracting, asking them, to do something. We're talking to folks. We're asking them, what do you think? What are you feeling? What's happening in this community? And that's really resonating with folks.
Clayola, you've been a long time working with the NAACP as well, in addition to Philip Randolph Institute. And one of the things that I think, which is the most underappreciated aspect of the Black Freedom Movement, was citizenship education. So the stuff that Dorothy Cotton did with the SCLC, the stuff that you had to go through training before you went out in the field with the Freedom Riders, the stuff that Jim Lawson was doing as well. And so that has been interesting to me, seeing people to understand teaching and not just saying you gotta vote, but walking people through and connecting the dots as to why they should be voting for school board and county commissioner and city and DA and judges.
Well, you're absolutely right, Roland, because that's the legacy and the history that has gotten us to where we are right now. And a part of it is doing the same things that worked in the beginning and not trying to recreate the wheel. Bill Lucy says a lot of times that a lot of fish have been fried and chickens have died in the name of organization. And he's absolutely right, because that's what we do.
And for folks at home, Bill Lucy, a longtime labor leader, we talked to him in Memphis for MLK 50. So she's just throwing names out there
right.
like we know.
Right. Well, you got to know your history, baby.
Yes.
You got to know that history. Now, a part of that is making sure that when you teach folks about stuff, they take ownership in it. So we don't just tell them you got to vote, because the first thing that comes out of especially our young folks is, what's it going to do for me? Nothing's working right now. But understanding that the battles that had gone on are still present to be fought again and again and again. And under this present administration, I don't think that you have to open up the curtains too far to see that those bad conditions really still do exist. So we do a 1-week training session every August, but we do at our 32 states, 129 chapter locations, a training all year long. Why it's important that people learn how to vote, how they play a role in the voting that takes place, so that they don't get disenfranchised when they walk up to the polls, because states like Ohio decide to purge the vote and take your rights away before you even get there, or say that if you have not voted, you don't have a right to vote because you waited a year or 4 years. We took him to the Supreme Court and was named in the hearing. It was Ohio versus the A. Philip Randolph Institute. We ain't scared. We're going to fight for this. We're going to fight for the vote that we have a right to have.
LaTosha, we talk about mobilizing and organizing, but we were also seeing black folks who are saying we've got to fund our freedom.
That's right.
I talk about this. One of the reasons we created this platform is because when Doug Jones was running in Alabama, now even though mainstream media was blowing y'all phone up after the election,
That's right.
people don't realize it was hard to get the message on before. I remember when Rose called me, we put her on News One Now. When DeWanna called, put her on News One Now, had you on, Tom Jones as well. So without our platforms, they'll call us after the victory, but not when you're trying to achieve a victory.
I mean, I really want to say this, and I sincerely say this, that you were fantastic for us. We needed to get our message out and connect to our people, and having this platform is priceless for us, because part of the way that we're going to do this work is that it has to be grassroots, people connecting and getting the information. So even some of the communities, you and Mark Thompson are really like having those platforms and having folks that we can get our stories to, really makes a difference, because everybody doesn't know that there's a bus. Everybody doesn't know that there's a black organization that's actually moving resources to the ground. We've moved almost $500,000 to black grassroots groups on the ground. We're actually connecting with people even after we've been on your show, or even you tweeted us. It's made a difference where people have called and said they want to help. So unequivocally, we need these outlets and we need these platforms, because it provides an opportunity for our folks to get the message directly from us, from our perspective, and it helps us to share the word.
But you made the point about also funding those groups, and we've seen this in the past where black grassroots organizations were being starved of funds, and you're going up to election day saying, look, y'all, 50,000 can make a difference, 100,000 can make a difference. You have campaigns sitting on millions of dollars. Then all of a sudden when they lose, it's kind of like, yeah, we tried to tell you. What I keep getting with black folks is like, cause literally, I just got a text the other day. The mayor of Birmingham is launching his own political action committee. Black folks are saying, hold up, y'all got PACs? Well, hell, we gonna start one too. What Collective PAC has been doing as well. People now realizing that yes, your $5, your $7, your $10, your $20
makes a difference.
Begins to add up.
Absolutely. If we're serious about power, who we think gonna pay for power for us? Right? Half the time we're fighting against folks who don't want us to have power. If we're really serious about power, we need to be able to get our message out. We need platforms like your platform supported.
Absolutely.
We need PACs supported. We need to be sending money to candidates. We need to be sending money to organizations like the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. Ain't nobody gonna look out for us like us. So it's really important for us to really understand that if we're really serious about power, we gotta pay. We've got to actually invest in our own power, and then that investment pays off.
And Clayola, obviously, for folks who don't know, I mean, one of the reasons why the Pullman Porters were so powerful is they funded the work of A. Philip Randolph.
Absolutely.
One of the things that the conversations I've had with Divine Nine fraternities and sororities is that when they have their conventions, they're not asking corporate America to fund them, because members are funding them. We have to fund our freedom.
You're absolutely correct. And our chapters raise monies. That's why I injected Bill Lucy in the piece. Our chapters raise money to be able to do what they do. We don't wait for anyone to give it to us. We'll take everything you give us. Now, don't get me wrong, but we don't wait in order to implement the programs that will empower our communities for those dollars to come to people who are selective, and they're always late. They come to you at the last minute and expect for you to work a miracle with the little bit that they give. But we know that we know how to get it done. We tied in church.
Absolutely. The last thing for both of you. So about 45 seconds each. somebody's watching this live stream. They're on Facebook, they're on YouTube, they're on Periscope, and they're saying, okay, all right, I'm hearing all this sort of stuff, but I really just don't believe my vote really makes a difference. Clayola, I'll start with you. Okay. What will you tell them?
Take a look at what the differences are already. When you start to see the changes that are being made with people like an Andrew Gilliam coming out of Florida, Rattler, out of Tallahassee, as a matter of fact, gay rattlers, taking a look around the countries at the names of the black candidates who were wonderful in the midterms, but who are going to kick butt in the final election. If you don't show up to support them, then you don't have anything to say, but your vote can make a difference. Some folks have been elected on as little as 100,000 or as little as 100. Every single vote counts, and you are important enough to make a deal on your future, on your children's future.
LaTosha?
And we hear it oftentimes when we're outside and people are saying, I don't know if my vote matters. I don't feel like it counts. Let me be honest with you. I felt that way. I have voted in elections and been frustrated and felt that same way. And what we say is we've got to start that's why our conversation is not just about voting. Our conversation is really about building power. And we're seeing that we've got to use, when you're trying to build power and change your community, you've got to use every single tool that's available to you, right? And we see voting as one of those tools. That's not the all, is not the be all, is not going to be the savior of all, but it's absolutely, there are people that are making decisions every day about budgets that impact us. There are people making decisions about health care. There are people that are making all kind of policy decisions about us. So at the end of the day, when you're fighting for power, you've got to use everything that is available to you. So it's not just about voting, but it is, if you're serious about having power, you've got to vote. That is one tool that we cannot afford to not use.
LaTosha Brown, co-founder of Black Votes Matter. Clayola Brown, A. Phil at Randolph Institute. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you
very much,
Thank you,
folks.